Hi again. Welcome to Pearl Magazine. The show must go on, and so must the Diploma of Secondary Education exams. Later in our program, how students and teachers are overcoming major obstacles to prepare for one of the biggest tests of the year. But first up, just as restaurant operators were getting back on their feet after months of anti-government protests, the coronavirus outbreak has smothered hopes of a quick revival. These days, dining out is all about ordering in. Pearl Magazine's Tina Jiang shows us how some delivery-only virtual restaurants have discovered a recipe for success in tough times.
1 p.m. is usually the busiest hour for most restaurants, when the office crowd normally would wait for their food to arrive at their table. Inside this kitchen, over 2,000 meals are being prepared for 5 different restaurants. But kitchen staff won't see any customers.
This is our central kitchen, where we directly produce all of the meals before we dispatch it and deliver across Hong Kong.
Sabrina Yang joined this virtual restaurant group 3 years ago. She likes the idea of being a ghost operation, where they can offer a variety of food, but without a storefront.
Monday they can have Chinese, Tuesday they can have a Greek-styled lunch buffet, and then Thursday they go for Thai. So that's something central kitchen like us can do compared to a traditional restaurant that only focus on producing one type of food.
Yang likes being virtual because there's less operating pressure. The space she rents in this industrial area in Chai Wan costs about 1/10 of what some of the restaurants pay in CBDs like Wan Chai or Causeway Bay. One of her virtual brands offers meal plans especially designed for those who have fitness goals.
Most of our customers are white-collar professionals. Interestingly, 70% of our customers are female.
Cherry Wong works in a Causeway Bay office. She orders from this brand all the time.
I really like it. I think I've been ordering it for a few months now. You can really tell after 1 week of eating it, there's a difference. Maybe it's because it's psychological, but I feel less bloated because the food is less salty.
Most virtual restaurants are registered as a food factory. Cherry knew that from day one.
I assumed that they would keep their kitchen very clean, maintain a high standard. You can tell from the food you eat, right?
She thinks the meal plans are suited to people with a busy lifestyle.
I used to go out with my colleagues a lot. I still do sometimes, but sometimes it's just when you go out with like 5 or 6 people and then you have to decide where to go, and then you're basically eating in like between 5 to 8 restaurants, and often you don't know how fresh the food and the ingredients is, right? So ordering a meal plan, I just don't have to think about what I'm gonna eat.
She usually makes breakfast at home and orders lunch and dinner online. That costs her roughly $200 a day.
The ingredients is really worth it. With 100 in Hong Kong, you're not getting food that is filling you up, or it's just not as fresh. And often when you eat out, the food is slightly more, more salt.
One of these meal boxes is selling on Sabrina's website for about $100. Yang says if people have similar food in a physical restaurant, it will easily cost 30 to 50% more. The wholesale prices are still viable. Yang says she can control her costs much more effectively than a bricks and mortar business. Last year, Yang's virtual restaurant group received $1.7 million in funding from one of the largest food delivery companies in the world.
We have both individual customers as well as corporate customers. On a daily basis, 2,000 customers get our food across Hong Kong. And we were growing 50% on a monthly basis before the protest.
With no storefronts, takeout-only eateries offer low risk for any investor, and that is pushing a growing number of operators into the virtual format. Mei Chow has been a chef restaurateur for 7 years. She moved her restaurant from Central to Causeway Bay after the original location was taken back by the government for redevelopment. but she managed to set up a virtual version of the eatery to serve her customers in Central.
It's been really successful, and the response has been great because it's in the same neighborhood vicinity. So we reassessed back all the repeat customers that we had.
Her restaurant is well known for its baos, or Chinese burgers. The virtual brand brings her around 20 orders on weekdays and up to 50 on the weekends.
I think it increased in Central especially. I think it was 37% of our sales, and I think by month 2 it did even better than Causeway Bay, and I think we did 76% more.
Despite the advantages of going virtual, Chow says there's something a real restaurant can offer that cannot be replaced by a virtual one: the experience like music, service, and the feeling of going out.
It's about the music, it's about the experience and customer service, and kind of that experience that you get going into a physical restaurant. So we have to creatively think, how do we do that through delivery? How do we have the sense of the brand value through delivery, and how can you feel that in packaging? From time to time we might write, personal notes into the delivery bags and be like, hope you're having a great time and hope you enjoy your bao. Or hey, we added an extra something in there so that you can try.
Maintaining the food quality in the delivery process is another challenge.
We have to re-envision how cooked do we want to cook the Brussels sprouts, because it's gonna be in a box, and by the time it gets there, it's gonna be different. So maybe it'll be undercooked slightly just to counteract the idea that it will be in a box.
Chow says for her, operating a virtual outfit is attractive because you skip all the costs in getting various licenses, in decoration and front-end equipment. And virtual restaurants allow the operator to test a brand's popularity at low risk.
I could tomorrow create a fried chicken concept if I want to. I could get that done within 2 weeks. I could test the menu, I could create the menu, I could think about the brand, and I can get it going. But if I built a restaurant, it would take me 3 months, 6 months, or a year. You need $1.5 to $2 million to build a decent restaurant. And if you do a virtual brand, it's it costs nearly nothing. And your cost would just be labor, when especially at a time like this where labor cost is so critical to your success or survival as a restaurant in the next 3 to 6 months. I think it's a really good concrete way to be like, okay, this is your sales and this is how many people you need. And you don't have to service, you just pack them in bags. Everyone can do that, and then you just serve. So I just have chefs doing that.
Chow's idea of setting up a virtual brand was inspired by a third-party food delivery service.
We have the confidence that if they actually create this new cuisine in this area, they will be super successful based on our traffic data. Why don't we work with them to create a virtual brand that specifically targets where we see as the cuisine gap in a specific neighborhood?
Brian Lowe says their platform has 6,000 restaurant partners, and among those, 200 are virtual.
Their average sales on our platform goes up by 80%. Right? This is a very tried and proven way for restaurants that have the capability to increase their revenues in a very short period of time.
Lowe is happy to see some of the restaurants even go from online to offline.
Out of the 200 virtual brands that we have worked with partners to establish and market on our platform, at least 10% of those are thinking or have already, based on the success they've seen on the virtual brand on our platform, decided to invest into a physical retail outlet.
Since the start of 2020, Lowe says they've seen an explosion of interest from restaurant partners in creating virtual brands. But not everyone buys the concept.
I have 18,000 restaurants in Hong Kong, including food factories that have no seating area, but sell a lot of food to go. I would think having a couple hundred doesn't mean that will make that type of business work.
Jung and his family have been in the restaurant business for a long time. He believes these virtual restaurants are facing certain difficulties.
If you steam a fish and then put it in a box, send it to you, it's always different depending how far you have to travel. And if you have multiple kitchens to cater for being close to where you can send to your customers, then of course labor costs will have to go up, so does rent. I'm not saying virtual restaurant will not work if you have a very limited menu and if you are good at one or two things where I cannot get in any other restaurant other than from this virtual restaurant, then probably that will work. Good luck to them. I wouldn't be investing my money on it.
After the break, how to prepare for the biggest exam of the year during an epidemic. Stay with us. Welcome back. As the coronavirus disrupts our lives, local students and teachers are facing even more stress. The Education Bureau announced earlier that the Diploma of Secondary Education examination, which serves to qualify students for local universities, will be held as scheduled in April and May. Absent from the classroom, many candidates are seeking help, and teachers are trying different ways to provide support. As April Joe reports, some teachers are seizing the opportunity to explore innovative teaching.
Also epidemic like us. To be honest, after studying for so many years, DSE is a chance to prove myself and further my education. Now it's a roadblock.
Alan Jung is a Form 6 student, taking the DSE exam this March. He was supposed to take a mock exam at his school after the Chinese New Year. But the coronavirus outbreak turned Hong Kong schools upside down. Classes were suspended and mock tests cancelled. It has totally upended Alan's plan.
I've arranged my study according to the scheduled mock test and DSE exam. But suddenly, we're told mock test is cancelled. I have to reschedule my study week by week. I will finish these items marked on this paper, studying for Chinese, English, mathematics and science.
Alan says missing the mock test means he cannot experience the pressure and atmosphere of public examination. This puts extra pressure on him, having already worried about the risk of getting the coronavirus. Now he has to confine his physical exercise at home.
I experienced it in 2003 during SARS. But I was young and happy to get extra time off. But as a DSE exam candidate, this is a big challenge. I'm also afraid about the epidemic getting more serious. When I see everyone wearing masks, it's frightening.
During this period of preparation, Alan is cautious about hygiene. Every time family members return home, Alan reminds them to sterilize. Family members used to share the tableware, but they must use their personal ones now to minimize the chance of cross-examination.
Everyone knows I have exams coming up. They will see if there's anything they can do to help.
Alan's mom has been paying close attention to the latest viral outbreak developments. She rarely mentions her worries to Alan to avoid putting pressure on him.
I'm frightened and worried. After studying so many years, if he is infected, he may lose the chance to take the exam this year, delayed one more year.
Alan hopes to get into the Faculty of Law at the University of Hong Kong, but he says his weakest links are mathematics and general study. The biggest impact from class suspension is the lack of opportunity to discuss things with his teachers when he has questions. Now he must find answers on the internet.
Teachers may not reply immediately, so communicating with text or voice messages are difficult. Now I rely more on online videos and spend more time on them. But when I watch a video, sometimes I may not understand some concepts, so I need to pause and think.
It's also a common mistake to you all. Get what I have done, what mistake I have made.
Although the teacher-student interaction is quite restricted while classes are suspended, one teacher decided to provide live online lessons at school in February. Form 6 math teacher Young Kai Man has been remotely analyzing test-taking methods with students.
We would have planned to correct the mock papers once the holiday is over. But this unexpected emergency closed ordinary channels to meet students. They have no idea about their study progress. Of course, they are anxious and eager to know the results of the mock test. That's why we have to make use of the internet.
Teachers and the school principal have regular meetings via video conferencing. Principal Karina Chan says they had their first video conference on the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, and this gave them the idea of offering live online lessons.
Students reacted quite positively to online learning. What we must consider now is how to keep their work and rest balance, since they need to stare constantly at the computer screen.
Jung says the combined pressure from both the threat of coronavirus and the upcoming test means students also need mental relief. He and his colleagues are making gift bags on this day to offer encouragement to the students. Inside the bag are masks and hand sanitizer.
We have considered using a courier to deliver exercises and mock papers to students. But just a stack of papers seemed a bit indifferent. We want to offer our care. Then we thought about what else to offer. It's a kind of care, wishing they can protect themselves and stay healthy.
I want more space for online lessons, so I use the living room. To keep away other family members, I use a yoga mat as a screen. Testing.
While some teachers offer live online lectures from school, others turn their home into classrooms. Vian Su is a secondary school chemistry teacher. She started her first online class offering lessons for her Form 4 students while classes are suspended.
Notebook computers and tablets are two important tools. A computer alone can do the job well, but I like to write while I'm teaching. This is quite confusing because I need to pay attention to different elements, like the computer software and students' reaction. We have a chat box where we do Q&As. It crashed just now. My students understand. Teachers are trying very hard.
Vian says home teaching is not easy at all. One class would last 30 minutes, but the preparation work and post-editing take many more hours. Along with having to attend meetings at school to discuss post-suspension arrangements, Vian says she actually works from 8 in the morning to 11 at night. On this day, Vian is meeting other teachers to discuss ways to improve online teaching. They're all members of a teachers' union established in 2016 that advocates online education. President Henry Ha says the epidemic is a crisis that also presents an opportunity.
Teachers used to think it doesn't matter if I don't make any videos. I meet my students every day, but now there's no classroom. The only way to offer instruction to students is through online videos and images.
老師們各位好啊！今日咧想係透過呢條影片咧，係教大家咧一啲課室管理嘅小貼士。不過咧呢個課室咧就唔係真正你上課嘅課室，而係咧講緊我哋線上嘅虛擬課室啊。
Apart from videos for students, they also upload videos onto open platforms, providing tips for teachers to lecture online.
我覺得咧，我哋大家都係
We are all exploring, honestly. Some special education teachers have different needs when using electronic tools. We need to offer more support to them. When teachers say it's difficult, it's really difficult.
That's our show for this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Pearl Magazine.